She toyed with our love, so I reclaimed the ring and ended the charade for good. When I first met Emily, it felt like I had finally found someone who understood me. She was witty, full of life, and had a mischievous sense of humor that kept me on my toes. Our relationship was built on laughter, spontaneous adventures, and the kind of chemistry that made people envy us. So when I proposed after 2 years of dating, it felt like the natural next step. She said yes with tears in her eyes, and I thought our future was set. But things started changing after the engagement. The jokes that once made me laugh began to sting. Emily loved to push boundaries, teasing me about other men, making flirty comments about strangers in front of me. What started as playful banter soon felt more like subtle digs. I brushed it off. This was who she was, right? I convinced myself that her humor was part of her charm, but deep down, it began to gnaw at me. One evening, we were out at dinner, and the waiter happened to be young and attractive. Emily leaned over and whispered just loud enough for me to hear, "He's cute. Maybe I'll leave you for him if he gives me a discount." She laughed, but I forced a smile, pretending it didn't bother me. Moments like this became frequent, each joke slicing away at my confidence and trust. The breaking point came at a friend's party. It was one of those lively gatherings where everyone knew each other, the drinks were flowing, and the music was loud. Emily was in her element, charming, sociable, the center of attention. I was proud of her, but there was always that underlying tension I couldn't shake. She had a few drinks, and her laughter grew louder, her touches with other men lingering a little too long. I tried to brush it off like I always did, but something was different this time. Her eyes met mine across the room, and there was a flicker of defiance. It was as if she was testing me, pushing to see how far she could go. Then came the bombshell. Loudly, for everyone to hear, she said, "Oh, I might be engaged, but that doesn't mean I can't have a little fun on the side." People laughed, assuming it was just another one of her jokes, but I felt my stomach knot. Her words cut deeper than anything she had said before. She saw my face and smirked. "Relax, babe, it's just a joke." But it didn't feel like one. Not anymore. That night, I lay awake replaying her words. Was it really a joke, or was there more truth hidden behind her laughter? Every moment we shared, every time she had made those comments, came rushing back like a tidal wave. I realized I had been making excuses for her behavior for too long. Love had blinded me to the disrespect beneath the humor. I thought back to the early days when we were inseparable, our late-night drives, the surprise weekend getaways, the way she used to look at me like I was her whole world. When had that changed? Had I done something wrong? Or had she simply outgrown me? The uncertainty was suffocating. The next morning, I confronted her. "Emily, can we talk?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She glanced up from her phone, her eyes still slightly hazy from the night before. "What's up?" she said casually. I hesitated. "Last night, what you said at the party, it really hurt me. I know you said it was a joke, but it felt like more than that. I need to know, do you still want this?" "Us." She sighed, rolling her eyes. "Oh, come on. You're overthinking it. It was just a bit of fun." Everyone knew it was a joke. But I pressed. "It felt like you were making a mockery of our relationship. I need to know if you're serious about us because I am. I proposed to you because I want to spend my life with you. But if this is all a joke to you, then maybe we're not on the same page." Her expression softened for a moment. "Alex, I love you, I do. But sometimes you're so serious. I don't mean to hurt you. It's just how I am. You knew that when you asked me to marry you." I nodded, but the doubt lingered. Was love enough if respect was missing? Over the next few weeks, things seemed to improve on the surface. Emily toned down her jokes, and we started spending more quality time together. But the seed of doubt had been planted. I found myself second-guessing her words, analyzing her actions, wondering if she was truly committed. One evening, we were watching a movie together when her phone buzzed. She laughed at the message and quickly tucked her phone away. My heart raced. Was it another joke or something more? I realized I was living in constant fear. Fear that I was being played. Fear that my love was being taken for granted. And that was no way to build a future. The ring on her finger, once a symbol of our love and commitment, now felt like a reminder of my insecurity. I knew something had to change. Either we rebuilt our foundation on mutual respect, or we let it crumble. I just hoped it wasn't already too late. The next morning, I confronted her again. "Emily, last night, what was that?" She waved it off, sipping her coffee. "Oh, come on. You know I was just messing around." "But it didn't feel like a joke to me," I said firmly. "It felt like you were mocking our relationship, our future." She rolled her eyes. "You're being dramatic." That was the moment it hit me.
She didn't respect me.
She didn't value what we had built together. I had been holding on to an image of us that no longer existed. I took a deep breath and slid the engagement ring off her finger. "If this is a joke to you, then maybe we shouldn't be doing this. I deserve someone who takes our commitment seriously." Her eyes widened. For the first time, she looked scared. "Wait, you're serious?" "Dead serious." She tried to backtrack, claiming she didn't mean it, that she loved me. But the damage was done. Her laughter had become a weapon, and I was done being the target. Walking away was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was also the moment I reclaimed my self-worth. Sometimes love isn't about holding on, it's about knowing when to let go. The days that followed weren't as easy as I had hoped. My heart ached with every passing hour. Memories of our happier times flooded my mind. The way she used to hold my hand, the late-night talks, the spontaneous weekend trips. I found myself staring at the empty space on her finger where the ring had been, wondering if I'd made a mistake. Emily called me several times, leaving voicemails filled with apologies. She texted me, asking if we could meet to talk. Part of me wanted to run back to her, to pretend none of this had happened. But I knew better. I needed time to process everything, to understand if our relationship was built on love or simply familiarity and convenience. A week later, we agreed to meet at a quiet cafe. She looked different, tired, vulnerable. Not the confident, playful woman I had known. She reached for my hand, but I gently pulled away. "I miss you, Alex," she said softly. "I know I messed up. I took you for granted. I thought you'd always be there, no matter what. I realize now that I was wrong. I was afraid of losing my independence, so I pushed you away. I thought making jokes would keep things light, but I see now that I hurt you." Her honesty caught me off guard. For the first time in a long while, she wasn't hiding behind humor. "I loved you, Emily. I still do," I admitted. "But love isn't enough if there's no respect." We talked for hours that day, finally being honest about our fears and what we truly wanted. We agreed to take things slow, to rebuild trust. The ring stayed in my pocket, a symbol of what we were working toward, not what was guaranteed. Months passed, and our relationship evolved. There were no more cruel jokes, no more testing boundaries. Instead, there was mutual respect, open communication, and a renewed sense of partnership. One evening, as we walked along the beach, I took out the ring. "Emily, this time I'm asking not because it's the next step, but because I know we've built something real. Will you marry me?"
She said yes.
This time, with a deeper understanding of what that commitment meant.